There we go. All right. So we are live now across the internet. So we got people at Facebook, we got people joining us live here in our conference room here, our office here that we close notes. And then we also have people join us on Zoom from across the country. You start seeing people popping in, which is good stuff. But we've got the our buddy Adam, the PhD, Schaeuble, joining us this evening here on Subtext Podcasters. What's up, man?
Dude, I'm super fired up. This is to be this close to the Note Palace is very exciting. So no, I'm fired up. I love Instagram. I love podcasting, and we get to combine those forces tonight. And I'm going to give you guys some really implementable tips that you can take away and get results from right away as soon as we're done with the little chat tonight.
Cool. So do me a favor for those that are joining us here. Can you go ahead and share a little about yourself, kind of talk about how you got into podcasting and kind of your journey?
Yeah. So I've got two shows. My original show is the Million Pound Mission. That's the all the images you see behind me are people that have been on my show and put their expertise out there. So the story behind Million Pound Mission is I used to weigh 327 pounds. I lost 100 pounds over 5 years. During that 5 years, I started helping other people in my hometown, Bloomington, Indiana, doing the same thing. I ended up creating a fitness facility, a program. We did 35,000 pounds of weight loss in 5 years in my hometown community. And now we're on the Million Pound Mission, which while I was down there in Texas, we actually crossed 55,000 pounds of results donated from the podcast. So people listen to the show, they get some tips, some advice, they implement, and then they get results and donate the weight loss to the Million Pound Mission. So it's a pretty cool deal. And as I was talking with Scott and the local crew here earlier, I noticed as a podcaster that my biggest show growth tactic was to get on other podcasts. So I decided to network with more podcasters by creating a podcast about podcasting called Casting the Pod. And so I cast the pod and interview podcasters every week. Super famous people like Scott Carson, and we are able to network a little bit more, have them on the show, make friends, and a lot of times I get invited on their shows or we network. We are able to cross-pollinate a little bit and create things like what we're doing here tonight. So that's kind of my podcasting journey. I've been podcasting now for 4.5 years, going on 260 episodes of Million Pound Mission. I'm about 50 deep on Casting the Pod that was just launched last year. And as far as Instagram goes, one of the biggest upticks in my downloads is when I really started to figure out that my audience was on Instagram, and then how to actually connect with them on Instagram. And the tips I'm going to give you tonight aren't like the standard, like use hashtags and, fix up your profile and blah, blah, blah. Like I've got those type of tips, but I want to give you ones that are more like guerrilla marketing style things that I cooked up renegade mode from my crazy brain region that just are working. And when I teach people these, they're like, I've never even thought about doing anything like that. So I'm going to give you some of those things to implement that'll just blow your audience away and help you grow your show and grow your Instagram following and better connect with your audience. So that's what you're in store for here tonight. Back to you, Scott.
Awesome. Well, you actually shared a big chunk of this. You spoke recently at PodFest 2019 down in Orlando.
Yep.
Buddy Chris Cremosis. And you had a packed room. They had 3 or 4 different sessions going, but your room was extremely packed for your session. That's when I saw this, I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense for a lot of people. Because I think Instagram being so visual is really good if you've got your audiences there. Mine audience is a little bit older, isn't necessarily on Instagram, but it's growing as everybody gets older. People are moving more to it. And I think it's a great way, because especially some of the tools that you're going to share that you shared with me really make a lot of sense, even if you've got a small Instagram following, right, Adam?
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm going to show you guys how to monetize Instagram, even if you're like less than 100 followers on Instagram. All right. Because I think one of the most frustrating points about being a podcaster, especially like with me, with Million Pound Mission, like it's in my soul, right? And I know that I can implement things and make an impact on my audience. Like I know that, like there's no doubt about it. I've done that with myself, with my hometown. And my first year of podcasting, I actually almost quit. I did 52 episodes, one a week. And I was like, not even my mom is listening to this show, So, I think we've all been there. We've all been there where it's so frustrating. Like, I know what I'm saying is helpful. I just need to get connected to the right audience. And when I found out that my audience was pretty active on Instagram, and I started spending time there learning about how to interact with them correctly, and then using Instagram as that bridge to connect to them correctly, that's when things just really exploded. So I hope to give you guys some tools to just bridge that gap, because I know a lot of you are feeling that, especially if you're a newer podcaster. It can be so frustrating because you're putting so much work and effort into it, and you're like, crickets on the downloads or crickets on the monetization. And I just hope to give you a few game changers here tonight that make a heck of a lot of difference for you.
Awesome. Cool. What's the first one you want to dive into that for everybody out there?
Well, I think the first thing we should go through is what I call the big four. All right. So the big four are the 4 areas that you can, connect with people on Instagram. All right. Just understanding that in general is going to help. I know a lot of you will be like, WTF is Instagram TV. I don't know what that is. So I'll explain that a little bit. So there are 4 ways to use Instagram. The first way is just that traditional post. That's what most people that come over from Facebook, they're used to that. Like, I post pictures, I can put comments, people can comment on that. I can interact that way. All right. So we have Instagram posts. The next thing they developed was Instagram stories, which, funny thing about Instagram, they're owned by Facebook, the giant conglomerate that's taking over the world. And originally, Snapchat was this quick video. It disappears in 24 hours. Facebook offered to purchase Snapchat, and they said no. So they basically created their own version of Snapchat, which is Instagram stories. And now Snapchat is kind of fading out, and Instagram stories is in-house, and they created it, basically just copied Snapchat. So an Instagram story is you can put up pictures, short video clips, and they stay up on your story for 24 hours, and then they go away. All right. So that's the Instagram story. Now, within Instagram stories, the third of the big 4 is Instagram Live. So just like we go live on Facebook, like we are right now, you can go live within Instagram and do teaching, do live Q&A, whatever you want. You can even do interviews. I'll show you guys how to do that. And that stays up on your story for 24 hours as well. So if Scott goes live teaching on, some real estate magic, and goes for 30 minutes, and that stays up, and people can see that in their story profile for the next 24 hours. So that's the third of the big 4. The fourth and the newest one is IGTV, Instagram TV. This is Instagram trying to eat up some of that YouTube market. And it's been interesting because it's vertical video. The Instagram stories, vertical video, the Instagram lives, vertical. And what I mean by vertical is you hold your phone vertical this way. And on YouTube, everything you have to film, in Facebook, it needs to be this way, right? For it to fill the screen. So Instagram is being, different in the point that, the typical YouTube videos that you've been filming like this aren't going to work real super well. So with the Instagram TV, it's vertical video, it's YouTube-ish type content, teaching, things like that. And that stays up on your Instagram TV as long as you keep it posted. So that's kind of a forever module. So, Scott, do you want me to go any deeper into those, or do you feel like that's good?
Let me talk about the time, because each one has a different time limit for the most part. It's different what you use things for. So what was it? It's 15 seconds for Instagram stories. Is that right? Or a minute?
Each Instagram story, you can go up to 1 minute in length per story, and then it'll make you switch to another story. But now they have this spillover thing, so they've corrected that. That was a nice upgrade, because you used to have to really watch it, and it was a 15-second segment, and you'd be talking, and all of a sudden you'd see people watching their phone and then trying to get everything they want to spit out. And then they'd break it and be in like an awkward break where they're going, oh crap. And then the next one's and back to the story, blah, blah, blah. And then watching the phone, and there's this timer, like an exploding bomb timer that's happening. Fixed it where you can just hold the button and it chops it up on its own, which is very nice. So way to go, Instagram, on that upgrade. But I do miss the videos of the nervous people doing that reaction.
The steelhead bob. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. So you have technically you have a minute on the stories, but you can string as many of those as you want together to fill that out. So you'll see some people that just have tons of it looks like little dash marks as you watch each story. You can fast forward through them. And the cool thing about stories is you get all the analytics. So you can see who's watching your stories, who is skipping over your stories, and things like that. So you can see, I did this Instagram story which was a just a picture of my podcast episode. And I saw that, 100 people viewed it, 20 of them just skipped over it. And then 80 of them, or however many went to my profile link. You can see all that data, which is really, really interesting. And, out of the big four, I'm getting the most action out of Instagram Live and Instagram Stories. My posts, people are used to posts. So it's hard to stand out with posts unless you're like ultra, like shredded male or female body fitness model type person. Those stand out. Like if I did some like Speedo thong pictures or something, that's going to stand out. But I'm not going there, people. Although, Scott's thinking about it. We'll talk about it. So where I can stand out and where people like Scott can really stand out is Instagram Stories, Instagram Lives, because of our energy, and that pops on Instagram Stories, Instagram Lives, when we can really infuse some of our energy into the audience, compared to, a still picture of like a meadow with our cat running around on it. Those are fun. And I post a lot of family stuff on my regular Instagram posts, but Instagram Stories, Instagram Lives, that's where I want to focus a bunch of time tonight, because those are the two areas where I'm getting major traction. And as I see those two areas start to grow, my podcast downloads are directly correlated with that growth and with the more eyeballs that I see getting on there. So, you want to dive into some tips now, Scott? How you feel?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it.
Okay. So as far as the Instagram story goes, and if you guys have, questions, you can type them in the chat roll there if things pop up, and we'll cover as many as we can here tonight. But the Instagram story, Instagram in general, with podcasters specifically, I see a lot of people just tossing show images out there like episode 100 starring Scott Carson. It's awesome. And like, we aren't giving people a reason to listen to the episode. We'll say like, here's what we covered, but it all looks the same, right? So I found a technique, and I stole this from Brennan Burchard, which he calls the have you ever question. You have to lead into a do you ever, have you ever situation of which your episode or the thing you're trying to promote is the answer. So with Instagram stories, you have the ability to post a poll. So I call this the have you ever poll. All right. So the way you work this is you post let's say I've got an episode on Million Pound Mission about sugar addiction, and I'm going to ask a question that my episode solves. So they need to listen to my episode. We give them a reason to listen to my episode so that they can solve this question. So I'll post a question of, do you ever cave in to sugar cravings? Yes or no? And you can customize the yes or no in the poll. So it can be like, hell yes, or no way, or like you can put emojis in there, whatever you want. But people will vote. All right. And the cool thing is that gives them a reason. All those people that say yes, that's the very next screen is my episode. I'm like, this will help. Or, you do some text on there like, this is going to help you bridge that gap to get to where you can control your sugar cravings or whatever. So just in that simple, it seems like so simple, so easy, and it is, but it works. Like my downloads almost tripled when I started doing this, just because I'm giving people a reason to tune in and actually listen to that episode. And with the poll itself, you can see everybody that answers yes or no. So if this is great for if you're trying to build your email list, if you've got, something that you're promoting like a free PDF or something like that, that's going to solve a problem. You ask a question of which your PDF is going to solve that problem. Everybody that answers the positive of yes, I need the thing, you can actually see every single person and you can direct message all of them. All right. And that's kind of my follow-up technique is if it's an episode, I probably won't DM means direct message. I won't DM everybody if it's just an episode. But if I'm selling something, if I'm doing a launch, if I'm doing an email list opt-in situation, for everybody that has the positive response of, yes, I need the thing that you're providing on the next Instagram story, then I will message them. And I call this the next level DM. So I don't just copy and paste message. I go old school. I go unscalable, because we're nurturing podcast listeners. So what are podcast listeners used to? Our voice. So I will vote you. It's very easy to do on Instagram. It's all within the app. You can direct message a voice message to all those people. And I go, hey, it's Adam from the Million Pound Mission podcast. I saw that you answered yes, that you struggle a little bit with sugar cravings. Make sure you check out that episode. It's on the next story, or you can just click the link, or here's the direct link. I'll post it in the next, the next message that I send you or whatever. And it's like 20 seconds. I'll go through and I'll message every single person that I want to try to connect with. And this creates more sales. This creates more opt-ins. This creates super fans because like, dang, I just answered a poll. People say this all the time. I just answered a poll. Like these are people that message podcasters and hold us on a really high pedestal. And they're used to us completely ignoring them. They're like, they don't expect any response whatsoever. But with me, they just say yes on a poll. And I'm chasing them down with a voice message that is me saying their name, me to them, unscalable. It's not a robot. Although I did have one person who's like, how did you do that? What kind of marketing system are you using? I'm like, no, that was me. That wasn't like Adam bought 5,000. That was me. And she's one of my, monthly members now because I sent her a direct message and she respected that so much. She's like, you're the coach for me. If you're willing to do that and reach out in that way and connect in that way, then I'm in. And she's telling everybody she knows about my podcast, my coaching program. Like we're creating super fans by just doing these little not so scalable things. So that is the first thing that's just a super big game changer. And I'll cover that again really quick so you guys that are making notes as you go. So the first step is you post the have you ever question, or do you ever, did you ever, or do you ever feel like? That's the type of question that you want to ask in your Instagram story. And you put up the yes or no poll so that you can collect that data. And then the next screen is the solution that you're providing, the email list opt-in, the free download, the episode, the thing you're selling, the workshop you're promoting. And that way it goes directly into that on the next screen. Then the next step is, now that'll be up for 24 hours. You have to do this within 24 hours or it goes away. All right. So you go and you look at your data, who answered yes, who answered no, and you do your follow-ups. And if you guys, don't have a ton of time, you can do a message of, oh, make sure you check out this episode. Here's the link. And you can put that direct link right in the message, copy and paste. That's cool. But the next level DM is you go through and leave a voice message with each person. And now if you've got a bunch of responses, don't do the copy and paste thing, or space it out. Or if you have a VA doing this, space it out, because Instagram, they won't like shut your account down, but they'll be like, hey, you're doing things that seem like a robot will be doing these. So we're going to not allow you to do any responses for the next 12 hours or something like that. So I learned that the hard way also. But I just get fired up and I'm like, no, I'm a human. I'm a podcasting cyborg sent back from the future to connect with my audience. So Instagram has called me a robot every once in a while, and they just don't realize that I'm just a machine, not a robot. But that's the real connection point that lights them up. So you just kind of build that bridge with the have you ever question and go from there. So Scott, any follow-up questions or anything on that whole concept?
Not right now. I mean, for those that are watching, if you've registered for yes, I'll send out the replay so you can watch this again and again and slow Adam down so that you can take notes. But he'll cover this stuff. But this really works. This is using Instagram stories for this. Easy poll on one screen. Second story is the answer, right? Or hey, have you ever, to give yes or no, something simple. And then a personal response, if you can, personal voice message to everybody out there.
Yeah. So, and what I'll do is if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it's Million Pound Mission. You can follow my account. And tonight when we're done, I'll put up a bunch of story posts that kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about that way. And every time I put out an episode, I do that anyway. So I'm releasing Casting the Pod episode tomorrow. So there'll be one up anyway, but I'll put some up tonight so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about and be like, oh, there's the question, there's the poll, there's the answer. So I'll do some of that so you guys have some live action to just kind of follow along with. So hopefully that will be helpful. All right.
We do have one question there. Rob
Yes.
asked the question, where do you see the response data to polls? Is that a separate screen or once it's expired?
Okay. Great question, Rob. So on the screen, like if you go through and watch your own story and you see the poll that you put up, you swipe up. All right. And that will bring up the data and you'll see the analytics. That's how you, on any story, you just swipe up and you'll get your views, who saw it. I think there's a lot of people that don't realize that you can see who looks at your stories. I've got a lot of I've got a fitness center and I can see my competition on there looking at my Instagrams and I block them. I'm like, oh, you're blocked. But people can see, so if you're like spying on your ex-girlfriend or something, like don't look at their stories. They can see you looking at their stories every single night. Like creeper. Just so you guys know,
I did not know that. That's something I just learned. That's a nugget I learned. I've been putting stories out, and so 14 people saw it. Okay, great. Now I can go back and now if you highlight the story, it'll stay longer though. Correct?
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, there is a little highlight bubble that's like it's just above where you put your regular Instagram post. So if you got something really good, you can highlight it and put that there and label it. So an example of that, and I'll put one of these up too tonight. I do a lot of videos at my gym. And Scott, this is a technique that I need to show you next time I see you in person, where I figured out a way to make it look like I would do a video of me working out and then I do a video of somebody else working out, but I make it look like it's like space-time continuum traveling into the next person. Like there's this like blur, and I do it all with my phone I blur my phone. So I walk around my gym doing this and doing videos, and my clients are like, what in the world is he doing? But it creates a really neat effect. I put music behind it. So I use a lot of those in my highlights. So I'll put one of those up as well. So you guys can see an example of that. And that's a little more advanced stuff, but it's cool. So I'll put it up there.
You had some good stories this morning at 5:58 a.m. as you were slave driving people.
Yes.
1 more minute, people.
One more. More burpees.
Right.
They love it. They always know when I'm doing my Instagram jam. But yeah, you can swipe up, and especially on those polls, it's so handy just to see who voted yes, who voted no. And then you can connect to, connect to everybody. Sometimes you put up a question that either or like you want to connect with. So, but be creative and really think, all right, what is the solution that I'm providing with my product and service, my free download or my podcast episode? What, is the answer that I'm giving to them? And then what's the question that I need to ask to lead to that answer that's needed? And that's the question that you put up on your Instagram post there with the Instagram story. And, once you get comfortable with it, be creative, put some graphics on there, or, so with the story, that's something that'll help stand out too, is you do some GIFs, is it GIF or GIF? I've heard people, GIF, that's GIF, right, Scott? Is that how you pronounce it?
I think GIF is the peanut butter. So,
yeah, that's that's what I say too, but I had somebody calling it a GIF the other day. I'm like, that's not right. I even know that. So you can put GIFs in there of like, whenever I ask a question, I'll put question marks that are kind of flashing and stuff like that. Anything that's like seizure inducing, you want to put it on there on your Instagram story, and that'll work even better. So, all right, let's see. Let's talk a little bit about live casting. Scott, have you ever live casted before?
I think just with you, buddy. Just with you.
Oh man. So the Instagram Live is an amazing way to grow your show with ideal, highly niche, highly targeted followers, right? And it's going to grow your Instagram following a ton. So I want to teach you guys a technique that I used where I got 300 new ideal audience members for my Instagram. So over 300 new Instagram followers in 15 minutes. All right. So what I love to do, well, let's take one step back. I think anybody that's podcasting should be doing a weekly Instagram live cast, every week, just because it helps you with your episode, it helps you with your speaking, but episode promotion. And, so doing a weekly Instagram live show is a no-brainer, because the algorithm is really, it's going to help you a ton with your own audience that you're trying to connect with, of people that are already following you. Now, ways that you can pull this off, a lot of people are like, well, what do I talk about? When do I do it? So with Million Pound Mission, I launch those episodes on Mondays. I do my Instagram live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. My audience knows that I do this. And if I do a solo episode, I'll just do some Q&A, or I'll do a deeper dive on a specific topic that I covered in that episode. If I do an interview, this is where it gets interesting. I will do a live split screen follow-up interview with that person. But my audience knows, they're in the flow of, oh yeah, he does, the episode Monday, Instagram live on Tuesday. I can show up and I can ask questions. And they love connecting with my guests, because that's a triple win. All right. That's a win for me, because I'm getting to, when you go live with somebody else on Instagram, the algorithm works from both accounts. So when Scott and I go live, my account, the algorithm's going, hey, Adam's going live. You better be tuning in, Adam followers. And the same thing, Scott's going live. All right, you better tune in, Scott followers. And our audiences get to intermix and co-mingle. And it's very easy. All they have to do is click on my face and they can follow my account. Or they can click on Scott's face, follow his account. And so what I did was I interviewed a couple that are right back here on my wall, Matt and Mega from the Keto for Normies podcast. They've got like 5 million YouTube downloads. They've got a massive audience. They've got over 300,000 Instagram followers. And when they go live every day at 9 a.m., if you guys ever want to see a crazy Instagram live, follow Keto Connect on Instagram. And at 9 a.m. Eastern, they go live every single day, and it looks like the freaking stock market ticker. That's how fast the comments are coming in, and the hundreds, if not thousands, of people tuning in live to watch them in their pajamas talk about the ketogenic diet. All right. And it's nuts. So I interviewed them on my show, and I said, hey guys, I would love to do a follow-up interview to help connect you to my audience. Let them ask questions directly of you. It'll just take 10 or 15 minutes. We do these on Tuesday nights. Would you be willing to do that? Like, yeah, that sounds awesome. So the cool thing about Instagram Live, when you do a split screen interview, there's no extra tech involved. You don't have to have another app or go from an outside server. It's all done within Instagram. And the easiest way to describe it is I go live. The people that are my guests, they see that I've gone live. They leave a comment, and I can pull them right into the thread, and it's a split screen, and it's amazing. All right. And then the algorithm starts driving. So I did a 15-minute interview with Matt and Mega, let my audience ask some questions. Their audience is just dumping into the feed. And I had 300 plus people follow me in that 15-minute time span. And that is still my most downloaded episode I've ever had, because they have a giant Instagram following. Now, you may interview somebody that has 100 Instagram followers or 1,000 Instagram followers, but still the fact that the algorithm is pulling from both directions is huge. It's one of the most effective ways to grow your Instagram and to get more downloads on your following with that niche market. Like, their audience is my target demographic. All right. People that are interested in nutrition, they are interested in weight loss, interested in fitness, and they tend to struggle a little bit with the back and forth of weight loss and regain. And so many people are like, oh, I heard you on Matt and Mega's show, because then they invited me on their show. And that's how that game is played a lot. I was talking about this with the live crew there earlier, is that, we all know that getting on other people's shows is a great way to grow your show, especially if they're in your niche market, that target demographic. But sometimes it's an awkward ask of just cold emailing people, being like, hey, I think I'd be a great guest on your show. I get those emails every single day, and I kind of blow them off sometimes, because I'm like, it's just kind of weird. So what I do is I do a double give of I will invite. So with Matt and Mega, I invited them onto my show first. I'd love to have you on my show, sharing my platform with them. Then I give them another give of, all right, let's do an Instagram follow-up interview. I want to connect my audience directly to you. They can, ask you questions and then follow your account. And then, we've interacted live twice by that time, and they're like, hey, you should come on our show. I'm like, awesome, let's do it. Just name the day and the time. I'm on it. And I rocked it. And they've got a top 10 ranked health podcast. So they're getting hundreds of thousands of downloads an episode. And I've gotten so many clients and downloads and all that just from this ping pong relationship of the double give, and then they ask me on their show. So that's another side benefit of this whole process is you're able to add so much value to your guests by having them on your show, doing a live cast with them. Your audience is loving it, and you benefit from being exposed to their audience and eventually a lot of times getting asked to be on their podcast. So is that making sense so far, Scott?
I think it makes a lot of good sense. You guys have questions? Anybody have questions about that, whether it's on live, Facebook, or here? You guys got any questions? So that would be kind of, so have you found an ideal time for those kind of mutual lives? Is like 15, 5, 30?
Yeah, good, really good question. So the length does make a difference with the live. What I've noticed is that every 15 minutes, I notice the algorithm driving more people. All right. Now, Instagram will only let you go live for 1 hour at a time total. And they start giving you the death countdown, and it scares the hell out of me, Scott. Every time I'm like, I start brushing up against it. It's like 3 minutes and starts blinking at the top, that blinker going. And I'm like, and then I can't even think about what I want to say next. I'm trying to bring it in for a nice soft landing, and I'm just babbling around worse than I already am normally. So that freaks me out. But I noticed that every 15 minutes that I'm live, there are more people popping on. You can start seeing them popping on, and the hearts start coming and all that. And that's from both sides of the equation. So, and that's the other thing. If you can get more comments, if you can drive conversation, the algorithm pulls more people and, ooh, something's happening here. There's a conversation happening. So you want to ask people like, hey, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Or let me see some hearts if you're feeling what Scott just said, and they start hitting those hearts and they start going crazy. Then the algorithm starts driving. And I've tested this. Scott, our buddy Justin, like we test things. Yep. He'll go live and I'll test something, and I'll go live and he'll test something. And we 100% know that when people are slamming on that heart button, the algorithm starts driving people. If we're leaving comments, the algorithm is driving people. So you want to be thinking about being interactive. That's why I love doing live Q&As, either with letting my audience ask questions of my podcast guests or just me going solo. I did this last night. I'm just getting people to ask questions, and that gets the algorithm going. And that algorithm is our friend. So every 15-minute block, we get a little bit more of an algorithm, drive going. But also the timing of when you actually do the live cast. Like, you want to go live when your audience is available. So you have to think like, all right, what time zone is my typical audience member in? You may not know that, but if these are the questions you can start polling your email list or asking people when they, send you a DM or an email like, hey, I love your show. Just ask them a few questions. Like, hey, could you fill out this poll real quick? I wanted to get to know my audience a little bit better. So you can find out what time zone they live in, what time they're off work, when they are most likely to listen to a live cast or a podcast, things like that. That's super valuable. You can dive in a little bit deeper with your crew and get to know them, so that, if you're doing, live with Adam at noon and all your people work, there's nobody that's going to pop on live. So a lot of times with me, my audience, I've got a lot of parents, a lot of moms. I got to make sure that I hit that sweet spot of, all right, it's not dinner time. The kids are in bed. I'm ready to go on my phone and learn some stuff or mess around on social media. That for me, that's 7 p.m. or later. Usually that's why I do Tuesday night, 8 p.m. I'm very consistent with that. People know that, okay, I got to get the kids to bed before 8 p.m. because Adam's going live. I want to ask some questions of this guest or the topic that he's talking about is interesting to me. And I promo it in advance. I'll put up a post. I'll put up something in my Instagram story so people are seeing it from a couple of different directions. But just understanding the time of day and the particular day. So with me, I really like the about 24 hours out from the podcast episode release, so that people have a chance to listen to it, write down questions, and then they can come ready with the questions. And I've tried different ones where it's been like same day, and those are okay. But usually if you give them 24 hours, they've had a chance to listen to it, and it's a little bit better reaction. So how's that, Scott? We doing good so far?
Yeah, I think so. Any got any questions that are online? You guys have questions about that? Are you using the stats in your Instagram to see when most of your followers are online or watching your stuff?
I've put polls up before, and you can't necessarily see from the analytics of when they're watching it. You can just see who's watched it and what action they took off of that. Like, did they click on your profile or did they swipe to the next story? But yeah, I think using an Instagram poll just to be like, hey, I'm a podcaster. I really want to get to know my audience. And you can just put question after, several in a row, be like, what time zone are you in? A, B, C, or D, or, or whatever. So you can use those polls for all kinds of stuff and get that data going, and that'll help out a ton. Now,
you guys good? Good. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
All right. So one other technique that's kind of an advanced version of the Instagram Live is what I call a live mini summit. And this is one of the things I talked about at PodFest, and people were like, mind blown. This makes so much sense. So the facts that we know are when we go live, the algorithm is our friend. When we go live with other people, the algorithm is double our friend. And we also know that we can do an hour of live in a row from our account, and that every 15 minutes, we get a little bit of algorithm juice. So I put all these things together. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do back-to-back interviews and have like a topic. And I called it 3 Expert Thursday. I didn't have the guts to do 4 with a 15-minute segment of each one. But I think I'm getting there. I'm getting close. So I allotted a 20-minute time segment for 3 guests where I went back to back to back live. Now, I was live the whole time, and I told them, like, all right, person 1, you're up first at 8 p.m. Person 2, you'll be up at 8:20. Person 3, you're up at 8:40. Be ready. Tune into my account. And I would just go one at a time. So with person 1, I interview them, and their algorithm is driving, and they're bringing new audience members my direction. My algorithm's driving. We go past that 15-minute mark, so we get that double boost. And then as we start to wrap up that conversation, I go, all right, guys, those of you tuning in from Scott's account, you are never going to guess who's coming on next. It's Steph, and Steph has XYZ knowledge, and this is why you want to tune in. Now, I'm going to bring Scott off. I'm going to take Scott off of the feed here in a few seconds. So make sure you click on my face, follow my account so you don't miss Steph. So you give them that urgency of, oh, crap, I'm following Scott. I have to follow Adam to see the next guest, or I drop off the feed. So that urgency is there, and it really, really works. People are like, oh, my God, I don't want to miss what Steph has to say because Adam just said all the amazing things that she's going to teach us. So they click on my face, they follow my account, and they're in. Otherwise, when I click Scott off the screen, then he goes away, his algorithm goes away, his people go away. And that's very sad if they miss out on the next segment. So we drive that urgency to the next person. We pull them in. New audience, new mojo going there. We go past the 15-minute mark. The double algorithm juice kicks in, and we do the same thing. But we can almost work from both directions to go, listen, guys, you got to follow my account because you missed Scott already. Here's what we covered there. Don't worry. The replay will be in my Instagram story for 24 hours. But Jane is coming up next, and here's what she's going to teach us. You don't want to miss on this. Just click on my face. We'll continue the conversation, but you have to follow my account right now. 3, 2, 1. See you, Steph. Here comes Jane. Boom. We pull her in, and we wrap it up with a big last 20-minute segment. Again, crossing the 15-minute mark. Algorithm's going nuts by now because we've gone live for almost an hour, and we pull Jane's audience in. And at the end of that, we recap what we covered. Again, click on my face, get on my account because the replay is going up as soon as we're done. You can go back and recap that. It'll be live for 24 hours on my account. Click on me, follow me, and you give them a bunch of reasons to do it. And it's very high energy. It's very exciting. It was a little bit nerve-wracking the first time that I did it. I'm like, oh, God, I just hope all these people show up. Like, I hope my speakers show up, But and the thing I forgot to mention is that you pick a topic that is common from the 3 speakers. So I did overcoming adversity, and I had 3 people on that had really great stories of overcoming adversity. So people were tuning in to hear that common vibe, and that made them more likely to follow my account to hear the next speaker. So like Scott, you can do this with real estate or specific niche of real estate. People that, whatever, like if you've got a niche, like the guys are talking about, like a TV show, and you have different people like stunt coordinators or back office people or show promoters, and you have different angles to approach, but it's all that common theme. So that's how you do the mini summit. And man, you can get some serious followers, get some serious traction. And what helped me was that all my guests have already been on my show. So they're kind of return people, and I can shout out their episode number at the end and be like, and if you want more from Scott and I, check out episode number 45 of Casting the Pod, da, 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 da. So that's another thing to latch onto, to link onto, to give them that call to action that they can go after and just become a part of my universe. So you just want to invite people in different ways to be a part of your universe. And that's why I think Instagram is so great, because they provide all these different opportunities to do that through the various methods that we're exploring here tonight. So do you feel like that's clear, Scott?
I think so. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You want to do a mini summit with somebody or a quick interview with somebody who's got an Instagram account first and foremost. If they don't have that, it's not going to work. Or you want to make sure they've got a following, not that they're a brand new account and kind of draining from your account. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, if they add value, that's always good, right?
Sure, of course,
but like if you want to hit a home run, you want to find people that have a following that's larger than yours and that's in your niche audience. So with me, anybody that's in weight loss, health, that's, if I'm driving towards $1 Million Pound Mission, it's amazing. But with podcasting, with Casting the Pod, I might do a mini summit on just speaking, like how do we improve our speaking skills? So I might have Tom Singer come on because he speaks on a ton of stages and does stand-up comedy and things like that. I might have a vocal coach come on and speak from that area, or I might have somebody that does like show editing to make sure that what we're saying is coming through loud and clear, and do a mini summit with that. So just think about a common vibe that you could do to connect people, then find people that have a larger account. And that's super, super important. And also when you go live, very important that you have the latest Instagram update and that all of your guests have the latest Instagram updates. That has screwed me before, where people can't connect correctly or they can't see my live feed because they haven't done the latest update. You're going to make sure that you're on a strong Wi-Fi signal, not out in the country, because I've had that where blurry face happens. Scott, one of the hardest interviews I ever did was an Instagram Live, a follow-up with a fairly big name guest that was sitting outside on their porch. So they weren't on their Wi-Fi, and they kept on freezing, and I couldn't tell what they were saying. So I'm just nodding my head, pretending like I know what they're saying, and just trying to connect the dots somehow. I'm like, and a lot of yeahs and sounds that makes sense, and just random things. I have no idea what they're saying at all, and I'm trying to just kind of wrap up the interview in some way, shape, or form that makes some sense. So if you are on Instagram Live, please make sure you're connected to strong Wi-Fi. All right, we got a question here from Shauna P. So let's see, and it's not a stupid question, Shauna P. Do you do these live videos from your desktop or your phone? The Instagram Lives are done from your phone. Instagram is a phone deal. That's the best place to operate from. You can view posts. I think you can view stories maybe from a laptop or a desktop, but all the lives are done from your phone, and you have to make sure that, again, strong Wi-Fi, minimal background noise. Always test your headphones. I've done that before too, where something's screwy with my headphones, and it's like I had this like whizzing sound in the background the whole time, this buzzing. So that was a ruined opportunity. But that way, you just know that you're prepped and ready to go. And always email those steps to your guest. I do that every time. Like, here's how it's going to work. I go live at 8 p.m. You'll see me going live. You leave a comment. I'll pull you into the feed. Before we go live, make sure that you've got the latest update, that you are following my account. They can't tell when you go live if they don't follow your account, and that you are connected to a strong Wi-Fi signal. Headphones are working, and there's minimal noise in the background. I had a guy at a coffee shop once right next to the blender, and people were like, is there construction going on in the background or something? So I've made all the mistakes for you guys, trust me. And I'm sure Scott's got some good live casting stories as well. It's always great when people don't realize that they're live. Like there's, I've got some funny ones about that. But so if you guys have other questions about live, just post them in the comments there, or the chat roll. But a good progression, if you guys would accept my challenge, I want you to go live at some point in the next week. Just do a live. It can be Q&A. You can if you've got a topic to talk about, if you want to promote an episode, if you've got maybe a workshop coming up or something like that, just go on there and teach a little bit. Just get used to going live, especially if you've never gone live before. Then the next step is doing the live split screen. So find somebody that you know, like, and trust, that you feel really comfortable with. And, you know, I know Scott and I are always up for going live with you. So just hit us up and go live with another person, and then do that a few times, get in that flow, then go for the mini summit where maybe just do two, like, you know, I've done 2 expert Tuesday or 3 expert Thursday. So do 2 to 3, line them up and just go after it. And just doing that extended live cast with multiple algorithm polls, there's a lot of opportunity for growth there. So it's going to grow your account. But again, remember, we're pulling in that niche market of people that are really highly targeted potential podcast listeners. And that's really what we want. So that's the big deal. All right. But I think we got maybe 2 questions here. Let's see. Joe's going to experiment with something called Lula TV, which will allow you to do an Instagram live broadcast using your PC and high quality microphone. That's excellent. Let us know how that goes, Joe. And then we've got another one. If you don't have IG account, what should you start doing so that doesn't look like you are hoarding other people's following? So, so as far as like asking people to come on, I totally get that. What I would do there is start building your following with the methods of going live. You know, obviously the basics of like using correct hashtags and things like that is the way you pull in new followers. But then if you have a podcast following, making sure that you go, hey, follow me on Instagram, you know, getting some audience built up there. And I would say, like, I wouldn't feel bad about it. As long as you have somebody, like if you have like 50 followers or 100 followers, don't sweat it. Like, you're still, you know, imagine this. Like, if somebody invites me to speak to a targeted audience of 20 people live, I'm kind of psyched about that. You know, like Scott said, we have 100 people sign up for this. I'm like, that's badass. You know, I'm psyched to talk to those people. So don't feel bad if you don't have 1,000 Instagram followers. You know, people will be excited to talk to your audience more than you think. All right. And they love the opportunity to connect and have questions asked and things like that. Now, one thing you may do if you're interviewing like a bigger name person, I have no problem with setting up a few, I wouldn't call them ringers, but I would recruit some of my audience members and be like, listen, like I'm interviewing Michael Hyatt, which is somebody I really look up to. I really love his books, and I'm going to go live with them. And I know that I will have people ready to ask questions. I'm not going to give them the questions and be like, listen, you know, person A, B, C, and D, I need you to show up and ask questions for sure, because I need Michael to feel like, you know, we have a really engaged audience. And most likely people will be there showing up asking questions anyway, but I have to cover that base and be like, oh, this is kind of a big time deal. And I'm a little, you know, the type of person you interview, you get a little bit nervous about, get those butterflies in your stomach. So having a few people set in place to ask them questions, especially if you have a smaller audience, that will really, you know, make them feel better about the situation too. So that's what I would do. Any other advice on that one, Scott?
No, I think it's just don't go buy followers. Don't pay $100 for 12,000 followers because they'll fill your account.
Yeah, Instagram is really cracking down on that. Like, you know, buying likes and followers and all that. It's like I worked my buns off to get above that 10,000 follower mark. Because once you cross 10K, you have the capability of what's called a swipe up link on your story. So the only link you have on Instagram normally is the link in your bio. So that's why, you know, we're on there posting link in bio until we, you know, just throw up in our mouth a little bit. It's that, you know, we're doing that all the time. So it's nice. You cross 10K on your Instagram story. I can say swipe up to listen to this episode. And I can put a direct link on that swipe up to the exact episode that I want them to listen to. So that's the benefit of crossing 10K. But like I worked my butt off to get there, and now I'm at like 11,000 and something, but it's benefited me directly. So that's a nice goal to shoot for, to get over 10K. And I'm helping a lot of people that are doing my course. You know, that's one of the main goals. It's like, all right, let's get you over 10K. Let's do it with these methods. So you have real live active audience that you can, you know, benefit from, and they're benefiting from you, and there's a real conversation happening there. And then we get to get that swipe up link, and it's a whole new ball game. Scott, I can't wait till you get swipe up, man. You're going to be a machine. You're just going to swipe up on everything.
Somebody's just swiping. Question for you. Where were you at before you started doing some of these things? And how long was that time frame to get to 10,000?
I mean, I've shot up, let's see. I mean, I really started to figure things out when I hit about 2,500 followers. I was just kind of experimenting and, just a lot of epic fails of things that didn't work. But then I started to find certain things that did work, like the things we talked about tonight. And then I just focused on those. I'm like, these are the things that are working. Let's double down my limited resource of time and let's get after it. And, I go through weeks where I'll go up 1,000 people in a week and, and grow. Like it'll happen that fast. It goes in spurts and surges. And it kind of depends what I'm promoting at the time and how many live casts I'm doing. But like I see 1,000 person growth week, fairly often and often enough that, I still get super excited about it, but but the key is that with these methods, we're having targeted followers and there's no point, like you said, in buying them. Like I went live with somebody that supposedly had 500,000 followers and I started seeing all these crazy names popping up, like computer symbols and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's somebody that just bought a whole bunch of followers. So I'm like, that was pointless. So yeah, and our friend Justin interviewed somebody that's a fairly famous person recently, and they talked about buying their Instagram following just because they've got such a giant audience everywhere. It looks weird if they just start an Instagram account and they have 25 people. It's like an ego, like somebody, is putting them down with the ego mode there. So, I guess that would make sense, but otherwise, if you're not a world famous person, don't buy your followers. That's the word to the wise there. That's what Scott told me.
Question for you. We got Gail Villanova. Excuse, I haven't launched my podcast yet, but plan to do just an audio podcast. Is it necessary to have a video feed so people watch me talk? If I have a guest, they probably won't be with me locally. And then can you define swipe up?
Right. So I guess with the Instagram story, I mean, that's video regardless. So you can't do just like an audio story, and they can be anywhere in the world. They just have to be connected to Instagram. So they don't have to be right there with you. So that's easy. And so the swipe up is, I could say in my Instagram story, you've got that little 15-second clip that clicks through. I can put up my have you. Okay. So let's implement one of the strategies that we talked about. I can put my have you ever question with the poll, and then the next image is the answer. Let's say it's a course that I'm selling, and I could say swipe up to get more details on my course. And all they have to do is take their thumb and swipe up on the screen, and it goes directly to my course. And that's how we roll. So
versus having to go back to your profile, click on the link. It's right there. It's one less ease of accessibility is what we're trying to get there, right?
We're taking the barrier away, and it's huge. It is huge. So, so Gail's got a 30-minute podcast going. Good for you, Gail. It sounds like it's going to be awesome. And now with all these tools, you're going to be able to rock it and grow that audience. So, as podcasters, we are community builders, and the tips that we've talked about so far tonight, it's just basically about better connecting and serving that community in as many ways as possible. So hopefully you guys are getting some good out of this. Now, how much time do we have left, Scott?
You got some time. We're good.
All right, cool. Let's see here. Now, we haven't talked much about the Instagram TV, and that's where the algorithm is pulling the most right now that I'm seeing. So just some quick ideas on that, how I'm using it. I have been doing a follow-up segment where I'll deep dive on one little part of my most recent podcast episode. And it's more like a YouTube style teaching video. If you have like a really nice camera, or if you've got if you live in like Florida and you've got like beaches in the background and stuff, or like one of my buddies, Anthony Mendez, who has a giant following, he goes out on the beach in Miami and does these videos where they're all like synchronized with kettlebells and it looks super cool. That's great content for Instagram TV. Now with me, I sit here at my desk and I just deep dive on one little 10-minute segment of my podcast, and I just put it out there. And for me, I just want to be present on all the different platforms, because there's a lot of people out there now that are really into Instagram TV, and they'll flip through that feed and that's all they go to. And they're kind of the YouTuber type people. So I'm noticing that my audience is connecting in that area a little bit more than it has previously. So just being able to think of a teaching topic, something visually pleasing to see or hear or watch. You can do a little, so I've got this, let's go one more big tip here, Scott. I've got this thing called the content vortex. Have I taught you how to do the content vortex yet, Scott?
No, you've not.
Oh my God. Get ready. So what you do with one live cast, you can get content for all 4 areas of Instagram. So what you do is you go live on Instagram. I'll do this tomorrow, actually. So you'll be able to see this happen if you guys follow my account at Million Pound Mission. So I'll go live tomorrow. I just did an episode where I interviewed Kate Stillman. We talked a lot about being in sync with your body. So I'll do something along those lines for about 10 minutes in a live cast, Instagram live tomorrow. I will save that video to my phone. So as soon as you finish live casting, it'll say save to your phone. You say yes. And what I'll do is I will take that and I will post that in my Instagram TV, that video. And I'll put a little bit of a title on it and you can hashtag, you can actually put a direct link in the comments of your Instagram TV now. Not a lot of people realize that. And that's a pretty nice little option. So I can put that episode link in the comments if I want to refer to it in the video. So I'll take the video from the live cast, save it to my phone, post that in Instagram TV. When you post a video in Instagram TV, it'll give you the option of, would you like to post this video in your Instagram as an Instagram post? Yes. So we hit that little toggle button. So it will then automate and kick into an Instagram post. And it'll only show the first minute, and then it'll say, want to watch the rest of it? And there's a little button that says Instagram TV, and they go in and they can watch the rest of the video. Then you can go, whether you have 10,000 followers or not, this is an Instagram TV, an Instagram swipe up hack. You can take that same video and post a clip or a picture, or you can just go on there and be like, hey, I just posted a new Instagram TV video, swipe up to watch it. And you can do a swipe up link to that Instagram TV video. All your Instagram TV videos have a little feed on your Instagram story that you can connect to. And so that way you went live. So we have Instagram live. It goes to Instagram TV, which kicks to your Instagram post. Then you post an Instagram story, which circles back around and reconnects to Instagram TV. So that's why I call it the content vortex. It's like a cyclone of Instagram awesomeness. And it's that one piece of content. And I'll do that, like I said, in 10 minutes. And then it takes me another 5 minutes to get it on all 4 areas, and you're good to go. So that is a way to kind of leverage the system a little bit. And we want to be efficient with our time as podcasters, and we love repurposing content. So that's one way to do it on Instagram.
Good stuff. So I got a couple questions here. Nada asked, what time are you live tomorrow? That's an important thing.
Put me on the spot. Let's see here. Let me look at my schedule.
If you follow him, you'll be notified when he does go.
This is true, Nada Hogan. I am planning right now on going live at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and I'll be doing I'll do the whole content vortex thing, so you can see it happen in real time, and it'll be awesome. You'll be like, I know what he's doing. It's that content vortex. So hopefully that helps you there, Nada. All right. Yeah, she's following me. Boom. If you guys want to know how to get Instagram followers, you go on a live Facebook feed with Scott Carson and tell people to follow your account. That's how it works. That's the magic. Rob is asking, is IGTV a pre-recorded video that's uploaded, or can you create the video in Instagram to go on to IGTV? It's pre-recorded, so it's got to be on your phone, unless you do the Instagram live technique that I just talked about. So you can do it that way too and save it to your phone. But usually it's pre-recorded unless you're going live.
We got a question from Joe. He goes, can you talk a little bit about monetizing your Instagram or your podcast on Instagram?
Yeah. So there are different ways. If you're selling a thing, use the have you ever poll. That is the way I monetize 9 times out of 10. If you've got a thing to sell, like when I sell my course, I challenge people. I'm like, do these tips, implement for 30 days. I want you to 10x your investment. And people are doing it, and it's super cool. And most of it comes from that have you ever poll of, if you've got a product. So I've got a weight loss coaching program, and I might ask a question or do a poll of, do you ever feel like you're in this battle alone? And people say yes. And then I message all those people with a direct message with my voice. And I'm like, hey, I'd love you to do a 10-day free trial of my coaching program. You can test it out. And if it's not for you, no big deal, but I think I might be able to help you out. And they try it out and I make money. So that's one way to monetize if you have your own stuff. Now, if you're looking for sponsors, a great way is to, I use a technique on my Instagram story where I will start sharing out some of their stuff. So if like with health, like there's a nutrition bar company called RX Bar. I like them a lot. I'm working on them as a sponsor. So every once in a while I will share their stuff out in my Instagram story. And then, obviously I will tag them. I'll build a relationship. Eventually they will comment back or say something. Like it always happens. If you do it enough, they'll be like, thanks. And I'm like, hey, I'm getting ready to put on an event here locally, and I'm looking for some like grab bag sponsors. Would you guys be interested in sending me some free product? Or, I'm doing something, I'm looking for sponsors for my workshop or whatever, or for my show. Would you guys be interested in having a conversation? And that's a way that you can reach out to potential sponsors and get connected. Same thing with potential guests. Like that's how I got Michael Hyatt. Like, I don't know if you guys know who Michael Hyatt is, but he's somebody that I really look up to. He's a big author in the business and entrepreneurship space. And I have been trying to get him on my show for like 2 years, and I finally got him because he put a new book out. I did a video and I tagged him, and I just did a review of his book and talked about how much I liked it. And he messaged me back thanking me. I said, hey, I've got a podcast that I think you'd be a great fit for. I think my audience would love hearing about this book. Would you be willing to come on? Hell yeah. So boom, we got him booked finally. So using that story of giving people shout outs and tagging them, whether it's a sponsor, potential podcast guest, or people that you're trying to connect with, that has worked really, really well for me. So, and if you guys aren't sure how to tag people, you can just type in @ and then their account name. And that's how you tag them and they will be notified. They'll see those things. And if you want to really stand out, is use that voice direct message. And I've got a unique advantage because I have this big podcaster voice. So they will, I'll tag them. They'll kick me a comment. Hey, thanks for mentioning me about my book. And that's what I did with Michael Hyatt. I'm like, listen, Michael, it's Adam from the Million Pound Mission podcast. I love your book and I want to share your message with my audience. Let's connect for a podcast episode. Let me know if you'd be into it, brother. So I put that energy out there. He remembers my voice and it stands out because they're getting lots of text messages, but not very many voice messages. So they hit that. It's like, who doesn't want to hit that play button, Scott? And like, you want to find out what it says, right? Like there's nobody that ever doesn't listen to a voice message because it's that mystery there that you wanted to solve of what did they say in this voice message? So they will always click it and you're going to stand out by doing that.
That's good stuff. Now, you could also, with some of the links in your IGTV, if you had like a sponsor, but an affiliate code, I've got some friends that are doing that in the fitness industry where they're getting, hey, use my code to get 10% off your thing. And it ends up leading them to money and other sponsorships and stuff like that too for them.
Yep, 100%. I actually did a live cast with one of my sponsors, Sunlight and Sauna, today. And they offer, discounts for people that purchase through my link, and I get kickbacks off of that. And I got a free infrared sauna out of the deal. So that's just another way that you've, monetizing, getting free stuff is cool too. And that's something that I guess if we do one final tip with Instagram, like if you guys, so we all see the ads that flip through on our posts when we're kind of just scrolling through the feed, and every once in a while I see an ad and the algorithm is so good, it knows what we want. I'm like, damn, I really do want those shoes that are, I can walk through 10 feet of snow and, all this stuff. Like, I want those shoes.
Did you end up doing that to get the dirt and sky K-Swisses?
Yes. Gary V. Damn you, Gary V. You know what I want. Clouds and dirt. So what happens is I see something that I want and I will never buy it. I will direct message them and be like, hey, especially now that my Instagram account is over 10,000, I've got a little more Instagram clout. And I'll be like, I would, I'm a podcaster. I'd love to try your product and do a review on my show or whatever. And, are you sending out samples if it's like a food thing or whatever? And 9 times out of 10, I'll get some free stuff. Like I get all kinds of free stuff now. But as you come up, I would never buy something directly off Instagram. Always hit them up for a freebie because we are podcasters. We are members of the media. we can, shine a light on their stuff, and people are into that, especially if you're a podcaster that's active on Instagram and they see that you're active and you're out there promoting a few things. That's a great way to get some freebies. So try that one out too.
It's a good one. Got a question here from an anonymous listener on monetizing for affiliate programs. Do you have to check in with a brand before doing an ad for them on your show?
So I'm assuming, Scott, do you think this means that you've like gone online and signed up for their affiliate account ahead of time?
No, I don't think they realize it. So if they got, like, I'll give you, like, you and I are both affiliates, like with Steve.
Yeah.
He gives us the link. He's not going to care that we go on and do an ad talking about New Media Summit and sharing the affiliate link. So because a lot of websites have it. Like, we've done that with, like, Zoom has an affiliate link you got to qualify for.
Yeah.
Another thing. So I don't think sponsors care because you're out there promoting it.
Yeah. They like it. Yeah. Unless you're on there being a jerk and like putting people down and be like, and you should do Zoom, I hate people with red hair and you should do Zoom, something like that. Like, oh, that's not good advertising. That's you're going to lose that whole demographic. But so as long as you're not being mean or anything, then I think that you're just fine. That's people. I mean, you can promote any of my stuff. You can practice by promoting any of my stuff that you want. And that's, I will let you know if I get upset about it.
Now, don't you mentioned something out there about a course or your Instagram course or something like that you're working through?
Yeah. So I've got my Instagram for Podcasters course, which AKA the Podcastagram Challenge. I like to meld words together. So yeah, if you guys go to instagramforpodcasters.com, you can check that out. It's 18 modules of follow-along videos. So if you're feeling a little bit lost with what we were talking about tonight, it's all follow-along, over the shoulder, me on my phone, screen sharing, step by step. You can pause it and go, okay, I copied that text there. Here's how you do the poll. It's very, very easy to follow. I've had people in my launch group, I picked people that didn't have Instagram accounts, that people were very new to Instagram, that had no idea what they're doing. I didn't help them personally. I said, go through the course. I want to see what comes out the other side. And they're coming out making money and getting followers and doing live casting and things like that, which I was thrilled with. So yeah, you guys can go on there. And I put a sweet discount code in there. If you guys use the discount code SCOTT, SCOTT, by this Sunday, you get $100 off. So you can save $100 on that course. And my goal, again, is for people to 10x the value that they spend there within the first 30 days. So I challenge people to go through the course. You can knock out the 18 modules in a weekend for sure. Start implementing for 28 days. So give me 4 solid weeks. Let's 10x your investment and hopefully get a whole bunch more podcast downloads or opt-ins or whatever you're trying to kind of skew that attention towards. I hope that helps you out. So like I said, if it's something that, as a podcaster, you're a little bit frustrated about being able to connect to your ideal audience. That's why I created this, because these are the tactics and techniques that I've used to really feel that connection and grow my show and feel like people are actually listening, which is amazing. And now my mom is even listening, Scott. So we have really won the game. But yeah, you guys can check that out. If you have any questions about the course or anything we talked about tonight, you can always send me a direct message on Instagram, Million Pound Mission. Send it.
What was the website again? Instagram for podcasters.com? Yeah,
Instagram for Podcasters. That's all spelled out. Instagram, FOR, podcasters.com. Check it out. And yeah, if you guys have any questions about it, just hit me up.
That's awesome. Questions, guys? Nothing?
That was great.
Good stuff. How about everybody else on there? Anybody else got questions for Mr. PhD here? He's the PhD when it comes to Instagram there. Everybody.
Yeah. So we didn't even explain that at the beginning, did we? PhD stands for previously heavy dude. I'm not being fancy. I'm making fun of myself. I should have. Yeah. I got hats.
So in my line of work growing up, I was a PhD growing up with a post hole digger. So doing a lot of fence posts, man. Yes.
That's and as I get more bald, I'll be the previously hairy dude, and we'll just it all goes from there. Nice. It looks like somebody already bought the course. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's amazing. So the magic of Facebook Live, and like I said, I hope that you guys got some action steps that you can implement. And when I do podcasts, I always, in my show, I ask my people to set what I call an implementation alarm. So whether you go on the website and do the course or anything like that, like I want you to implement something that you got fired up about tonight. So go on your phone, all right, and set your alarm for 24 hours from right now. And your goal is to implement something that you learned tonight or something that you got excited about before that alarm goes off. Or if it goes off, then you have to do it right then. Or do 1,000 burpees, and Scott can show you what that looks like, and it's not pretty. So, so don't suffer the wrath of the implementation alarm burpee penalty. But that's a great way to just put your feet to the fire a little bit. And if you do start to implement these things, let me know about it on Instagram. Hit me up, send me a direct message, send me a voice direct message so that I know that you know how to do that, and I'll send you one back. But I really hope that was one of the things that I was really pleased about with Podfest in Orlando is that people said, you know, there was a lot of broad brush tips of like theoretical stuff. And they said, Adam, with your thing, I had takeaways that I could implement right there. And I started seeing results right away. So that's what I want for you guys. And hopefully I was able to deliver on that tonight. And Scott, thank you for having me on the platform, man. I love it.
Adam, thank you so much, bud. Definitely delivered. Let's give him a big round of applause, everybody. Thank you. If you're watching this, yes, once again, it's Instagram for podcasters.com. Discount code is Scott, SCOTT, to get $100 off. Thanks again, Adam. We will record this. It has been recorded. We'll get this up on YouTube and a few other places for everybody to watch the replay. But do me a favor. Yeah, go check them out at Million Pound Mission on Instagram. Follow them there. And then do me a favor, too. If you're on this, share us your hashtag. Share us your Instagram account, so we can follow each other. And what I'll do is I'll actually send that out to those that attended so everybody can follow everybody here. Because I think it's one of the big things to helping us all grow, and having a meetup like this is for everybody to share best practices and build their network, right?
Yep. And you guys are in the right place. Scott is an amazing person, an amazing community builder, an amazing leader, and a really cool dude. So you guys are in the right place, and just stay with it, implement, stay together, connect, help each other out, and grow your shows together.
Great, man. Thanks so much. I love the tips, man. This has helped me in little things. I'm not doing as much as I should to be doing, but I picked up at least 4 or 5 nuggets tonight that I didn't know about. So thanks, Adam.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the live stream. I want to thank you again for joining us. We'll be doing these live streams actually every Wednesday night with different people, different quotes. People are doing different subjects. Who do I have for next one? I've got a couple people lined up. We've got somebody for getting picked up as guests on more show. We've got a publicist. We've got somebody to talk a little bit about some video editing as well for you. We're going to talk about some more monetization. So we got actually every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central, we'll be doing a live stream. And then the second Wednesday every month, we'll be meeting still in person here for everybody. Cool. So cool stuff.
Awesome.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up for the live stream. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see everybody at the top.